Let's make another button work on the lesson page, which is Start Watching button. And I'd like this button to redirect us to the first lesson of this course. So let's open up info.blade.php. This is the component which has that button. And let's assign appropriate URL to the href attribute of this Start Watching link. We're going to call function route to get the URL of a particular route that we are specifying as the first parameter right here. And as the second parameter, we have to pass the appropriate lesson. In this case, this lesson should be the first lesson of the course that we can get by referencing lessons relationship and then by calling method first to grab only the first lesson of this course. So let's try it out and see how this works in the Tinker first. I'm gonna open up Tinker, and right here let's get the first course from the database by calling method find and specifying an identifier of the course. And then let's reference relationship lessons and grab the first lesson. And we're getting the model which corresponds to the first lesson of the course. It works perfectly, but sometimes it might be good to simplify some code and make it more readable. For example, in this case, we can make it work in the following way. If I'm going to reference first lesson, I'd like the first lesson of the course to be returned. Of course, it doesn't work just yet because we haven't yet defined appropriate relationship on the course model. So let's do it. I'm going to switch over to course model and define another method with the name first lesson. This method is going to describe another relationship, which is called has one of many, meaning that we're returning only one record of the particular relationship. And in this case, I'd like to get the lesson model, and which model to get we're going to specify by calling method of many. This method accepts a couple of arguments, first of which will be the column on the related model that we're going to use which lesson exactly to return. And the second argument will be sort order, in which order we firstly have to sort lesson records and grab the first one. And since I'd like to get the first lesson of the course, I'm going to specify min value, which is going to sort all the lessons by the number column in the ascending order. And then it is going to grab the first lesson. But if we would specify the max value right here, it would do the opposite sorting in descending order and grab the very first lesson of this sorted set, which will be the last lesson. And after doing all this, based on the values from the number column of the lessons table, we can easily get the very first lesson of a particular course. I'm going to open up Tinker once again. Don't forget that anytime we modify codebase, particularly PHP files, we have to reboot the Tinker. So let's fetch the first course from the database, and then I would like to get the first lesson of this course by simply referencing our new relationship first lesson. And this time it is working perfectly, as we can see. So we have successfully defined another relationship, which is usually called has one of many, which is kind of based on the has many relationship, but then we kind of apply additional restriction to retrieve only one specific record of the has many relationship. And by the way, we can also reuse has many relationship when defining has one of many relationship. In this case, I'm simply going to call has many relationship, and then just to turn this relationship into has one of many, we can call method one, and then define our additional condition by calling method of many like this. Let's see if this works. As always, we have to reboot the Tinker, grab the first course, and then reference first lesson relationship, and we are getting the same result, so it is working. And of course, now in the browser, if we're going to click on the Start Watching link, sure enough, we're going to be redirected to the page with the first lesson. But since we have defined additional relationship to fetch only the first lesson, let's go back to the info.blade.php component, and instead of referencing lessons relationship, we can directly reference the first lesson like this. We're going to get the same result, but the code has become more readable. One more time, let's make sure that we are redirected to the proper lesson after clicking Start Watching button. As you can see, the address line shows the identifier of the first lesson. Everything is working perfectly. Let's continue development in the next lesson.